Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are working on the E90 M3. This specific model, it's a 2009 BMW M3 and it is the sedan model. Today we are working on the steering wheel. As you can kind of see here, the steering wheel has seen better days. This car currently has 96,000 miles and it's been a fantastic daily driver number 2 to the 135i. But as you can see on the top, it's starting to lose obviously the top coating of the steering wheel, and I could only see that the next thing is going to be the leather starting to have that wear and tear. So what we want to do is upgrade the steering wheel to an M Performance flat bottom Alcantara steering wheel that we bought secondhand, but we also refurbished that one to look brand new. So we saved a couple $100 and we have a couple of things that we are going to change out, especially the M button here. This is the MDM, the M dynamic mode button. We want to switch this to a red button that many enthusiasts already kind of do, and it's gonna kind of pop and stand out. And what we want to do is change this to a red, and also the start button that you see in the back. We want to switch this out to a red start and stop button, just to give it a little more, I guess, pizzazz to the interior of this car. As you can see, it's a 2009. It's already 12 years old, but it is an E90 M3, the last of the naturally aspirated, the only V8 M3 there is. So stay tuned. We are going to show you a DIY, the before obviously, and then the after of what it's going to look like. Stay tuned, and we're going to walk you through how to remove the steering wheel, at the same time how to put on the new steering wheel. So the first thing you want to do is disconnect the battery. Why? Because we're working with an airbag. We don't want that to discharge for any reason. So just for precautionary, we're going to disconnect the negative terminal, and then we're going to get started with the removal of the steering wheel. But first things first. Okay, there we go. It's already kind of off. And I'm gonna need a quick extension. It looks like it's got a little bit of a depth. So, okay. And you don't need to loosen it all the way, but just to be sure. Okay. It's a little bit tedious there. Obviously the angle's not the best, but now the negative terminal is completely disconnected. Kind of set it to the side and it shouldn't really move. Now let's go into the interior and start working on the steering wheel removal. All right, now we have the battery disconnected. There are no power. Just make sure, just hit one of these lights to make sure that there's no power kind of running through, right? And it's just about the precaution of this airbag. Obviously, there's a lot of force that goes into this. You just want to be safe when you're dealing with this airbag and the removal of it. That's the first thing that we need to do, guys, is to remove the airbag, because the locking nut for the steering wheel is right in the middle. So we got to take the airbag off first. And it's kind of tricky if you've never done this before. There's a slight dimple here. If you feel around with your finger here, there's a hole right here. And that's not a hole that you're making. It's actually there from BMW. What this does is there's a slight groove that you can follow. Almost had it. There you go. That's that side. And then this other side. Sometimes it's a little bit stuck because you just pushed in one side. There we go. That took a little bit of fidgeting, but now you can see the back of the airbag. There's two actually connectors here, and they should lift straight out. Guys, be gentle. There's a lot of plastic here. You don't want to force this and break something and kind of be stuck. So just kind of be gentle with it, guys. It should lift up, but obviously it's not the easiest thing. And then we're going to try to remove this entire thing out. This is actually to the controls of it, but I think I can get this out once. And then I'm just gonna gently pry. There we go. And that is out. And this is actually to the controls of this, all the buttons here. So you don't want to mess and screw this one up. Make sure that everything's intact. And we're gonna take the steering wheel out first, and then we're gonna try to take this stuff off. All right, there we go. It's off. And the reason why you don't want to, just kind of wiggle it like that. Okay, now you can take it off. Because a lot of times, I've owned the E36, I've owned the E30, and I've heard nightmare stories where you just take the nut completely off, and as it's stuck on there of years of just not being removed, people hit themselves in the face. True stories. You don't want that to happen. Now that it's certainly wiggling off, make sure you don't lose this nut, guys, because we're gonna have to reuse it. And unlike the older BMWs, there's actually a centering ring. What I mean by that is, this is also dummy proof. If you look on the inside, there's a slight groove to the steering wheel right there, and there's that flat part, and it matches with this flat part. There's actually an indent right here, if you see it. That might be really difficult, but there is, guys. Trust me when I say it is a little bit dummy proof. I'm going to remove the trim piece first. This is plastic, and I don't want to take a chance of ruining that. So make sure it's nice and seated. All right. One, and there should be three. Okay. And as you can see, there's a bunch of stuff going in and out. Like I said, we have an Alcantara trim that we're going to put on. Okay, and we're gonna save these bolts right into the little cubbies. There we go. There we go. Okay, guys. Now that is the trim piece. This is actually more expensive than the Alcantara, but for the sake of actually making it very all Alcantara look, I have the Alcantara steering piece. What we're going to do with this piece, guys, we're going to put this into the 135i with not this wheel. We have an extra BMW M3 leather steering wheel manual that we're going to put in, and we're going to use this trim just because it has that M thing going on, and I think it's going to look really cool. Okay, we're going to put this to the side. Okay, now we're gonna have to start removing all this stuff, and from the looks of it, I think this is another T20 action going on here. Yep, and sure enough, remember guys, this is for the DCT paddle, okay? And don't forget that. And we're gonna have to remove this somehow. Okay, rather than pulling on the wires, because this is the DCT wire, guys, I'm gonna use a needle nose plier, just a small one. Don't grip it too hard. I just want leverage, and I'm just gonna wiggle it out. Okay, there we go. Because I really didn't know how that was gonna work out. And here is the DCT paddle, how it's in there. And it's pretty straightforward how it's gonna be. This is the left side. You can't mess it up because it has a negative, guys. It just means it's on the left side. Okay. All right, guys, we got the big plastic on the back off. Just be careful. And there's 3 more tabs here. Just be really gentle. Okay, and that's off. And then you see this kind of brass pin. You're gonna go from the bottom and push up. Okay, and as you can see, it's starting to come out. Okay, now that's out. Make sure when you pull this out, and you want to make sure that the ball is part of it, but the ball is in here. Okay, and there's a small little ball bearing here. Don't lose that, guys. We're gonna have to put that back in there when we're fidgeting with it. There's a ton of grease in there and stuff. That's what keeps it sliding back and forth. So I'm gonna put that in here. Now here's the paddle. Okay, this is gonna be a T10 Torx that we're gonna use to take it off. And let me show you how much. I mean, this is the Evolve paddle that I got. And there's a comparison, guys. What a night and day difference. And the Evolve really looked at the F80, F82 M3 design. And that's what, you know, they did to this. What I did, and thanks to my brother, who's kind of an enthusiast himself, he decided to put some rubber backing like the G80 style M3 for some extra grip. And I kind of love that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take out this T10 Torx right here. Okay. Okay, here we go. And be gentle. Lots of plastic here, guys. So, okay, that's off. And the Evolve paddles actually come with their own screws. So there we go. And look at that. That's how it looks like. I'm gonna put this back into the original hole here, just in case I need to revert this back to this car. It's on here like this, like so. And this, guys, is not a T10. The one from Evolve is not a T10. So we're gonna need an Allen that looks like more of like a 2 Allen. I'm gonna go get. All right, guys, we got the right size Allen. It is a 2. Okay, that's not going anywhere. But you also don't want it to rattle. Okay. Okay. Now I'm feeling it, guys. There we go. That's that pull mechanism. So that's in. I am gonna put the little plastic bits back on. Oh, before that, don't forget this. This is what holds it in place. Okay, all the way down to the bottom. Make sure, test it, guys. There we go. The ball bearing's in there, nice and tight. Okay, and all the tabs are good. All the tabs are good. All right, guys. So one paddle down, and boy, does that look good compared to, what is this? Jesus. Look at the size difference. Yeah, in this case, size does matter. All right, so let's go on with the right side, guys. The upshift paddle, like so. Okay. All right, 2 paddles down. Evolve. They put their little etching here, so you know how expensive their stuff are. Now let's work on this guy. Oh, f***. Motherfucker. Ah! Oh my God. How the f*** does this go back together now? There it is, the M button finally in there, and we got it to lock in, and we're gonna put this back onto the new wheel. Okay, that's on there. And then we're gonna put the other screw. There's actually only one that goes to the top. Remember how we took it off, but that's on there, and it's gonna be positioned that way. So let's actually put the DCT paddles back on before we start finagling with this. This is the negative. Okay, that's on there. Then we're gonna put the big boy screw in there. And this is gonna be a T20 as well, which is the Torx bit. Okay, that feels good. And then the upshift. That's on there. Now, before we start putting everything back together, let's just make sure it only goes back one way. Like I said, there's a centering pin, and you can see the line matching up on the bottom, right? You're not gonna have any alignment in terms of the wheel being off. It's gonna be fairly straightforward there. And remember where the DCTs plug in. Let's do that first. Like so. Okay, snap. You're gonna hear that little snap. And then on this side as well. actually. It's probably easier with it off. Okay, that's on there. Okay. I heard everything snap, snap, snap back in, so that's good. While the steering wheel's out, let's actually start undoing the start button. All right, so this is fairly easy, but we're gonna put a trim tool behind here and start prying it up, and then should be able to push back. Nope. All right. You can most likely do this with your hand, but just be careful. And it only goes in one way. So just remember that. There's tabs here, and then there's this little centering ring right here that fits right there. Okay, just so you know. And then there's gonna be little tabs here. You just have to push it in on both sides, and then it comes out. So just remember that. And we're gonna use our pick tool to start getting this out. And that's really what it looks like. Fairly easy, and this is kind of dummy proof too, because you know that the centering part is at the very top, and that's how it goes back on. So let's look at the new shiny little piece. It's the red button, goes on top. It should snap right back in. There we go. There we go. And yeah, I really want to change out this ring or do a little bit of paint or something, because it's seen better days. It's just little cosmetic things that kind of bother me. It's a 10-year-old car. Okay, that was painless as it gets. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna plug. There is a plug back here, so we want to make sure. Okay, that's in there. All right. I think we're ready to roll on the steering wheel now. Wow. That just looks so much better than what it was. Now we're ready to go and start plugging stuff back in. Again, centering ring, it really only goes on one way unless you're being a gorilla and just slamming things back. But there's a centering ring, right? All these plugs, airbag light, airbag plugs. That's really all we have left. I'm gonna take the T10 and start screwing things back beforehand. Okay, that's nice and tight. Okay. and don't torque the hell out of it. It's just really easy to break this stuff. Okay, now let's replug this. Okay, I put the airbag on before I put the nut on. That's a bonehead move, guys, but don't make the mistake I did. Okay, that's on there. Okay. Okay. Should be good. So, okay. There we go. There's some anti-seize that got transferred on. Wow. That looks fantastic, to say the least. Now let's go plug in the battery. Fingers crossed that everything works, but I think we're gonna be golden. Everything seems to be working. That works. MDM button works. Looks like everything's good to go. All right, guys, there we go. Well, we did the install. There were some learning curves on the way, but now we have the beautiful M button, the start button, as well as the Alcantara steering wheel with the Alcantara centering trim, and most of all, the Evolve paddles. I mean, this was one of the most annoying things about the E90 M3 was how small the pedals were. And let's do a little comparison. I mean, that can tell you how small these things are. Look at that. And the black just, man, that looks so aggressive. I'm kind of in love with how it looks right now. And let me get out of the car and let Daniel kind of film this part, because, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. A night and day difference from the leather steering wheel that was kind of beat up, and now this Alcantara M Performance steering wheel. There it is, guys. Thank you for joining us today. You saw a front, beginning to end in terms of swapping out the steering wheels, the proper way to kind of do it. Comment below what you want to see next, because we just did a little bit of the aesthetics, but we're going to lower this car next. I think that's going to bring we have Arc 8s that are going onto the car, which is going to make this car look so much better. We're going to close that wheel gap, but the 19-inch Arc 8s are going to look fantastic, made by Apex Racing race parts. So stay tuned for the next episode. This was the steering wheel DIY, a little bit of wrenching, part of the drive, wrench, repeat. Thank you.